Today we are with Dan Wright. We're at the Officers and Leaders Conference in Rogers. Dan is the president of Arkansas Farm Bureau. And Dan, I really appreciate you taking the time today to visit with me. I know you're really busy, especially at a conference. So,
absolutely glad to be here.
Well, the purpose of this video series is to help farmers, and especially young and beginning farmers, realize some of the opportunities and resources available to them through organizations like Farm Bureau. And typically when I talk to people about Farm Bureau, the first thing that comes up is insurance. Do you mind elaborating a little bit about what Farm Bureau does outside of insurance?
Sure. Whenever I go around speaking with people, that's one of the first things that they ask. You know, I'll be talking about federation issues and they'll say, what are you talking about? And so the big part of the misconception is that we're all insurance because that's what everybody sees. But Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation is where it all began. You know, in 1935, we began our organization to help farmers have them a voice in both Little Rock and Washington, D.C. And the insurance part came on a little bit later because we saw a need where the farmers weren't getting the protection that they needed on their farms through other insurance companies. So Farm Bureau created their own. And so for years and years, we've been providing that as a service for our Farm Bureau members. Okay, so there's a wide variety when I look at Arkansas and commodities that we produce. That being said, what commodities or farming practices does Farm Bureau kind of cater to or focus on? We cater to all kinds of farming practices. We do specialty crops, forestry, poultry, swine, dairy, just about everything that's in Arkansas. Our latest venture has been into dairy, goats and sheep, small ruminants, and that's our latest one. Right now we're in talks about maybe incorporating other commodities, but anything that is grown in Arkansas, we take a special interest in it, and it becomes one of the divisions that we encompass, and then we study that, and our folks on staff find answers to questions, and anytime we need to know more information or new information, like through a farm bill, they're the ones we go to, and we let the producers come to us, and we give them the information, and then when we have meetings and things in the counties, we take that information to them. So we do all kinds of different commodities.
Okay, y'all. You know, you talked about hearing the voice from the producers. Mm-hmm. We also hear that Farm Bureau is a grassroots organization. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about how does Farm Bureau hear its members' voices?
Sure. Grassroots is a term that we use a lot, and people that are affiliated with Farm Bureau know exactly what that term means. Sometimes we throw it out so loosely, we forget that other people don't really understand what grassroots really is. I'll give you an example out of my county. We had a policy development meeting one day, and a guy who was really not that involved with our county Farm Bureau, he was on the board but didn't show up a lot. He had a situation, he was an ambulance driver. And at that time, you had to during an accident, you had to take the patient to the nearest hospital. Well, where I live in Waldron, it's not, the hospital is not equipped for major problems. So if they had an accident between Waldron and Fort Smith, they would have to go to Waldron first and then go back past that accident, going back to Fort Smith. He came up with a policy issue. We need to change that to go to the nearest suitable hospital for the injuries. And they went through our policy development program, and it went to the state policy development, went to our business floor during a delegation meeting, and then became state law within 2 years. So that one man's voice for a need that was very prominent, and no telling how many lives that one voice has changed over the years. That's what grassroots really is. One voice can make a difference. And I've always pushed that always be there to state your problem, state your issue, because one voice can make a difference. But that's what grassroots is. And that's what we're all about. Even on the American Farm Bureau level, we still rely on that grassroots and that one producer or that one individual that has an idea or an issue.
Is Farm Bureau in every county in Arkansas?
Farm Bureau is in every county in Arkansas. We have an office in each one, and each one has a board of directors. Each one is their own entity, their own group, and they set their bylaws, and they basically tell us on the state level what their issues are, and they're actually the ones, they're the engine that runs this whole machine, and so we rely on them very much.
So I'm fairly new at farming. My wife and I bought a farm 2 years ago. And as a young farmer, it's important that I network and I have connections. Do you see Farm Bureau being a place where a young farmer can build a community network?
Yeah, we were talking about this in our board meetings the other day, and I was talking to some people earlier this morning. We have an array of ways for young farmers to get involved. We were talking earlier about the YFNR, which you're a part of, and it starts so early. You know, with a high school student in FFA, they can get involved with that, and we're heavily involved with that. Before that, they can get involved in 4-H, which we're heavily involved with 4-H. But once they go from the 4-H to the FFA, then they go into college. We have collegiate YFNR, in which they can get there and learn more about Farm Bureau, about the things that we do and the advocacy that we do, trying to help farmers and producers. From there, we have county boards. There's a county board in every county in Arkansas. They can get on that board and make a difference and be a voice. And then from there, they can move on up the ladder. We've got several board members on the state board that were in YFNR and came up just that way. So there's all kinds of avenues that young farmers and young ranchers can get involved and make a difference. Myself, when I first started, I started late in life. I was in my 40s before I got started. But I realized that there was a voice. My voice counted. So it doesn't matter if you're just beginning. If you're thinking about getting into farming, you have a voice and you have a place in Farm Bureau.
That sounds amazing. Some people might be a little hesitant and think, maybe that's too good to be true. What is this going to cost me? So how is Farm Bureau funded?
Farm Bureau is funded through our membership. We have an annual membership fee, and those fees, we have a $40 fee each and every year. And with that fee, you get an array of products. You can make that money back within a month or two. We have different products for hotel stays, rental car rentals, Caterpillar equipment, case equipment, all kinds of discounts out there that you can get that back. But that's basically how we are funded, is through our membership.
Okay. I guess we'll kind of wrap this up with maybe what advice would you give a young farmer or a beginning farmer on how to actually take the step and get involved in Farm Bureau?
I would say, if you don't know a board member in your county, go to your county agent or your county agency manager or your insurance agent. They're equipped to help you get started. When I got started, I didn't know what to do. I just knew I wanted to be a part of something. And my insurance agent told me, hey, you can get involved with our county Farm Bureau. We're looking for people just like you. And this has been 20, 25 years ago. And they're the ones, that's your starting point. If you don't know anybody on the board or anything, that's your starting point, because they'll point you in the right direction. And I'll guarantee you there's a county board out there that's looking for a young person to be a part of it. We are begging young people to be a part of our county boards because they have a voice that folks my age don't have. And we need that voice for Farm Bureau to grow.
Well, again, I really appreciate your time today.
Thank
I know
you.
You're busy.
Thank you.
And I would encourage anyone to go and visit with their local Farm Bureau office, find out who those county board members are, and just visit with them and see what opportunities you might have with Farm Bureau.